Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Anime Super Simps podcast, aka the ASSCAST.
The ASSCAST.
And today, oh goodness, Doofy, hello, there you are, my boy.
I'm here, baby.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
He's here, and who else is here?
TAIYO.
I don't know. Fuck, I don't know who that person is.
And who else is here?
Who the fuck?
Doofy.
Who the fuck is that? I think it. Doofy.
And who else is
TAIYO,
here? And TAIYO.
Today we're going to focus on another installment of the 3x3s, aka the 3x3 of my boy Doofy.
That's me. Noob, you got a whole episode last time, so you don't even need an introduction. You got a whole fucking episode. And it was the first one, so you don't even... No introduction for Noob. You had a whole ass introduction last time.
I don't even get to talk this episode,
Yeah, you lose talking rights. I'm actually cutting your audio from the recording. So they're just going to see you and like see your mouth move, but there's going to be nothing else behind it. Just me and TAIYO this episode. Just kidding. Your criticism of my 3x3 will be the most important, I think.
Yeah, TAIYO just doesn't say anything important.
TAIYO will be like, oh, that's really cool. What is that about? I've never watched it, but I want to. Or it's on my planning list along with 900 other titles. I'll be like, sick TAIYO, aka you're never actually going to read or watch any of these. There's no way.
Leave me alone,
It's
bro.
lost in 900 plannings to watch. It's simply not being watched. That's just... just admit it, bro.
Okay.
Does TAIYO actually watch anime? That's the question.
I saw him on Annulus yesterday. He had a few entries. It was kind of crazy. I almost lost my mind.
Yeah, I was like, bro.
I'm like, holy shit.
What's this?
Oh, I'm catching up with all the manga that I have on my need to catch up list, aka all the weekly Shonen Jump titles I'm reading. I'm also reading a lot of Bakuman right now. So.
Oh, that's awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. I wish you the best in life.
To behold.
But I guess enough beating around the bush. I think it's time for some
Enough
3x3
talking.
action.
Yes.
3,
Okay.
2, 1, go. There it is.
See it.
The objectively
Oh
best
my
3x3
God.
in the server. By a long shot.
Oh my god, I have seen about
None of that.
Running calculations?
I
don't know a single anime here.
No, I know all of them. I know all the titles too.
Okay, if you're...
There's only one problem. I've only watched about 20 episodes of everything that's here.
Okay, well, you know what, TAIYO?
When it comes
Better
to
than me.
the anime.
Okay, well, okay, that's your familiarity with it. What are you, Noob? What do you know off rip?
Yeah.
How many do you know of these 9? I reckon all of them. We talk
I've
a lot.
heard of all of them, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I've heard
I
of
only
all
know
of them too.
about them from you.
Yeah.
You're the biased source, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
And the only one I have actually completed is Evangelion.
Oh, really? That's insane.
Yes.
What have you completed of my 3x3, TAIYO? Or what have you at least...
I've completed none, but I've consumed 4 of these, aka Eden of the East. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I really liked it, but there was something going on in my life, and I just went like, bruh. I watched the Zabuza arc of Naruto, the first arc.
Take that.
I have seen the first 6 episodes of Darker Than Black. I've seen the first 5 episodes of Evangelion. And I have heard about I've heard about Gurren Lagann, Beck. I don't
Only
know.
heard you. I'm surprised you haven't watched Gurren Lagann. But wait. Before we go any farther,
Really?
it might help to actually just name the fucking 9 of them first. So from top left, we have Eden of the East, anime. Then we have Darker Than Black, another anime. Then we have Neon Genesis Evangelion, anime. On the second row, from the left, we have Gurren Lagann and Naruto / Naruto Shippuden, both anime and manga, but more significantly the anime. Then we got Beck, the manga particularly, though I also love the anime. That could also kind of be there in the background. And then on the bottom row, we have 3 Days of Happiness.
In the background.
Yeah, in the background. No Longer Human, the Furuya version, and Goodnight Punpun. All 3 manga. So that's the list. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
What I found really interesting about your 3x3 when I first looked at it was that most of these are actually anime, and I was like, oh damn, Doofy is still just more of a connoisseur of anime than he is manga.
Well, I wouldn't say mostly. It's like
And
it's
Well,
5
it's
to
5
4.
4.
And the Naruto one is like 50-50 anime manga. But I mean, so is Beck. So
yeah, no, but when you compare it to the list, our amazing 3x3 by NOOBERTON, I was like, oh damn, I thought you
Not
read
a
more
single
manga than you
fucking
read.
manga.
yeah, Noob has like
Yeah.
how many series have you just like even read Noob? Like 19 maybe?
Bruh, not even that. Like, as you see, my shelf back here, that's all I've really touched. And there's like 10, I think. Let me check my annual list.
Don't
I
worry, I'm
think
already
it's just
there.
10,
I'm already
bro.
there, baby. It's 18. So you're better than you think. You underestimated yourself. Now, by contrast, it still makes sense, I think, for me to have more anime because, of course, I've seen 400 anime. I've only seen or read 161 manga, so again, there's that imbalance. I will say, though, generally the quality of manga I read is higher than that of the anime I watch, but that's another point entirely. So let's talk about the 3x3 itself. I guess the obvious one,
course.
much like Noob, front and center, we have Naruto / Naruto Shippuden plus manga and anime. And actually, I'd even include Boruto in this now. I'm reading Boruto right now, and it's pretty fire. It's got some problems, but like it's very much intimately connected to the whole franchise. And I think I'd be foolish to leave it out. I don't have the harsh criticisms that others have of it, despite me knowing that there are some significant flaws. But nonetheless, my enjoyment is still rapid with this one.
Yeah, the
Anyways.
nostalgia drug just says,
Oh,
fuck you.
it's
Fuck
like,
you.
listen, yeah,
Fuck you,
absolutely.
bitch.
Like, I am not
No flaws.
I am not afraid to admit that my hyper charitability towards Naruto is largely influenced by the fact that I grew up with the anime. Like I said, I started in like 2008. I started with Naruto. I developed alongside Naruto. That's why I genuinely think that comedy in the show is funny, because I developed alongside it, and its comedy formed me, and I ate up the comedy, and then right? And since all my friends were into Naruto, we kind of were able to bounce that same, energy off of each other, and so that only culminated in a kind of type of comedy that is reflected in Naruto in a certain sense. So that's why I do think that the comedy in Naruto is actually, and that's why I fucking love the filler in Naruto, especially OG Naruto. Like, literally, like, yeah, there's like 100 episodes or something of filler at the very end of the original Naruto, and everyone's like, just skip it and go on Shippuden. And I fucking love it. I've rewatched all that filler multiple times because I just think there's so much like funny, dumb shit in there. You know what I mean? Like, one episode in particular that always stuck out to me was the episode where the Ichiraki Ramen's daughter got kidnapped by fucking ninja chefs, and then Sakura, Choji, and Naruto had to go save them. And what they did was they had a fucking like cook-off. And the Ichiraku ramen guy, his like wrist was sore, like from perfecting the new type of noodle, so he couldn't participate. And so they had to make ramen, the three of them, against like this whole team of chefs. And they were like using jutsu, and it was so cool. Like, Naruto was kneading the dough with the Rasengan, Choji used his expansion jutsu to like slam it down. Sakura was punching it with like her super punch, and it's just so ridiculous, and it's just so funny to me for that reason.
Yeah, I have to take on filler that, like, it's a part of the experience. You can't actually take away a filler. Because you're making filler sound like it's not actually part of it.
Yeah.
But it is a part of it. There's a reason. They're part of the fucking episodes, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can comment on, like, the story, like, the canonical story as expressed in animation, which is one thing, but, like, the anime itself does very much include the filler, for better or for worse. I think it's for better, because worst case scenario, you just don't watch it, you skip it. Best case scenario, there's actually more content for you to consume, and sure, it might be problematic, might pose plot holes, but I still think at the end of the day that there is just some genuinely entertaining content to be found in the Naruto filler. And some, like, genuinely serious good stuff, too. I think there's this whole arc also in OG Naruto where we get a glimpse into one of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. It's the filler one, so it doesn't actually come back in the canon later on, unfortunately. But it was a really cool story, and I thought he was actually cooler in design and power-wise than some of the ones that came back in the war arc. But that's details that are lost upon you guys, so I'll drop that there.
Yeah. Okay. So I've already mentioned that I've only watched the Zabuso arc, and I have watched. This may come as a surprise, but I actually tried watching Boruto first before I started watching Naruto.
It's like, yo, let me watch Breaking Bad, the final season, before I watch the first season. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, let's do that. But it's like, bro, why would you watch Boruto before Naruto? Look at that.
Okay, so
It's only cool because it's Naruto's son, bro.
Myself.
Okay, whatever. Go on.
No, it's okay. So I have watched the first 8 episodes of Boruto, and I was watching it weekly.
Oh, that's why.
When it was still airing, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty cool, because I really liked the dynamic of all the children of the actual cast of Naruto. The story was just fun. It was just brainless shit, and I was like, this is fun. I can watch 24 minutes of this and then go to work or then go to school. But I stopped watching it and I tried watching Naruto first, because I was like, yeah, I can watch this, but who the fuck is this Naruto guy? I have no clue.
Yeah.
Well, I of course knew who he was, but I don't know anything about him except that he screams all the time and that he liked Sakura at the beginning. That's the only thing I knew.
Let me interject here. The very serious problem with jumping into Boruto first is not even that you're not familiar with the characters, but that Boruto is like springboarding off of like 720 episodes of power scaling. So like, of course, if you're watching the anime of Boruto, you're jumping into like a lot of like anime and just regular ass filler, which is more or less like slice of life stuff to develop like the main cast or whatever. But like if you were to just like consume the canonical story or read the manga or whatever, what you're gonna find is like the fucking first villain. It's 2 people that are on the same scale as like Naruto, the franchise's like strongest villain. You get 2 of those, like literally like in the first arc of Boruto. That is incredibly unsettling. That's very difficult to stomach.
Is that the girl, like, no, well, not the girl, the woman with really pale skin?
Yeah, Kaguya. That's the
I don't know. Yeah, Kaguya.
The OP final villain in Naruto, and we get 2 more from her clan enter like immediately in Boruto. And so like literally to go from like kids playing around like the schoolyard to like fucking this planetary level threat ×2 is just like, it's too much, too fast, you know what I mean? Like, it's really just, that's, even, like, as a Naruto fan, that's difficult to, like, watch the fucking power scale go up that high, that fast in Boruto. But
yeah, the pacing, it just felt off, but like, in the first 8 episodes are, like, just introducing the kids, and that's it. I don't really know about any power scaling shit.
That's good.
But,
better off for
so
it.
I started watching Zabuza, well, the first arc of Naruto, and I actually liked it, but I didn't like it enough to continue more. Okay, this might be weird to say, but I think it left off at a good note. Like, the Zabuza arc, it felt like a conclusive thing. Not for the other characters, but for the characters I liked more, because I really liked Zabuza, and I really liked the girl.
It's a guy.
Dude,
it's Haku.
I don't know.
Thank you very much.
I really liked Haku and Zabuza and their dynamic.
Hey, watch it, noob. But
I'm simple-minded. I like shows of
because
character.
I didn't like Sakura, I didn't like Sasuke, and I really didn't like Naruto. The only people I liked from the first 18 episodes were what's his name? Kakashi and Zabuza and Haku.
So you're laughing at the end of the waves. Because let me tell you, you're not seeing those guys for a long time. Zabuza and Haku. So, but yeah. I agree, though, actually. I think you made a comment earlier about Boruto and like how you liked how they were fleshing out the main cast in relation to like the Naruto cast, and their dynamic was nice. I agree, actually. I like Boruto as a character a lot more than Naruto at the same point in the story, because I think Boruto has like tremendous development, like with his dynamic with Naruto, between like, you know, trying to get his dad's attention because his dad's the Hokage and he's always busy, but like also like doing the most mischievous ways possible to get that, and just seeing him actually like grow up over the course of, you know, literally like the first arc, because he's so like snotty towards his dad in the beginning, but like near the end of that first arc, he's actually like kind of come around, and I don't know, just through understanding like the ways that he took to get his dad's attention were wrong, and he found better ways to do so, and his dad finally gave him the approval after their and he blah blah blah. I like it a lot more. Naruto didn't have the same complexity right off the bat for me, but he eventually does, so whatever. Anyways, I very specifically chose to like talk about all this weird shit for the entry on Naruto because, like, listen, I could spend fucking 20 hours talking about the choreography in Naruto. I don't think there's a single action series that has better choreography than Naruto. I could talk about how well written I think the characters are, especially the villains. I could fucking spend years talking about how much I love Sasuke. The jutsu powers and the world and the building and the blah 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 blah. There's flaws, but by and large I think that it has so much conventional merit, plus my overwhelming charitability because of the fact that it's something so deeply embedded in my childhood. I have nothing but good things to say about it overall. And I also chose to speak on Boruto because that's more relevant to me right now as I'm consuming that. But yeah, Naruto. I've talked about it enough, so I chose to talk about the other things for once.
Okay, so a good transition from Naruto, a really upbeat and happy shonen series, well, at least from the eyes that I have on it. Let's go on to a really, really dark story, aka No Longer Human.
Oh, okay.
Which is on my priority plan to read.
Punpun.
I thought he was going to say Evangelion, so...
No, I want to go in to talk about No Longer Human because I know it's your favorite manga of all time.
It's always like back and forth with Beck, but yeah, more or less. It's a very long and comprehensive development of the main character Yoza Oba through his like these three main periods of his life. You know, first as a child, struggling to just, you know, fit in with his classmates and stuff because, you know, he always felt very, very hollow, and like he just felt like the only way he could reasonably interact with the people around him was like, you know, just like to be the clown or whatever. But like he never actually felt like the clown. He always felt like he was like, you know, one step removed from it all and kind of almost manipulating the people around him that way. It didn't feel so malicious at that point, but then you kind of get a little farther into the future where he becomes like an art student, and his parents kind of like start cutting him off because of, you know, wasting his money, and they don't entirely approve of his decision to go to art school, stuff like that. Anyways, it's during this time he meets another friend, and, you know, he gets introduced to like brothels and shit, and, you know, all that fun stuff. And we again see like his kind of manipulative nature develop more here, because then he starts to use these girls. Like he has this overwhelming charm and charisma that like just attract people like a magnet, and he uses that to his advantage to just like find different girls to sleep with, to like, you know, mooch money off of to stay there. This inevitably leads him into like this deep underground like Marxist cult that he gets invested in only to like be with this one girl. Unfortunately, she does have a boyfriend, and they come looking for him outside of his apartment, which forces him to flee. And anyways, again, it's a whole lot of, at this point, like bouncing around different girls, you know, leading them on. And as soon as he starts to get a little deep into one relationship, he's already like going elsewhere to just start up different possible connections when he assumes that this one's going to burn out or he is going to have to leave again. So he's always like in the process of finding like other people to manipulate for his own benefit. And you know, that goes on. That's the kind of bulk of the middle part. And then the final half is like, it's just so beautifully executed, because you finally see all of his bad ways catching up to him, and he fucking descends down deep into darkness. And then, like I said, you get the comprehensive scope of his life. So from childhood up into death, right? So it's phenomenal. I think just the scope of development, the different themes that it tackles are really brilliant. Just seeing, you know, this manipulative lifestyle play out in such an interesting way is just very, very fun for me. Not fun. Very thought-provoking, rather.
Isn't this a pretty short series?
3 volumes, yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy to, you know, fit the entire life in just 3 volumes.
Absolutely, yeah. It is pretty bonkers, but you'd be surprised at, you know, what... It's very pointed, the whole narrative. There's another version. There's actually 4 versions of this. The other famous version is the Junji Ito version, which is more accurate to the source material, and you actually get a little more meat in the in-between sections. You know, but for me, it's just the quality of the prose isn't as rich. It's set in a more, you know, traditional Japanese setting, which was actually more representative of the original novel. But I really like how this Furuya version that I always talk about is set in a more modern setting, and it speaks to like modern reader sympathies, I think, a little more, and I think that makes it more relatable to me, and so that's why I always opt for this version. I also just like the art more in this one, you know what I mean? Like, Junji Ito has some amazing art, but I don't know, Furuya's art just more interesting to me, you know what I mean? But that's another discussion entirely, but that's No Longer Human in a nutshell for me.
Yeah, no, I actually have the version by Furuya. I have it on my priority PTR, even though I'm actually a big fan of Junji Ito. have collected all of his manga already, so
nice.
I'm a big fan. But I do want to see this type of story in a modern setting more than I want to see it in a traditional Japanese, Japanese setting.
Yeah.
Because it's the same with the anime of Parasite. I love the anime 10 times more than I did the manga. And that's mostly because of the modern setting. The anime is quite recent. He looks it up at a computer instead of going to a library like he does in the manga. So it speaks to me way more, because I will do the same thing if that happens to me in this time period, but I have no clue what would happen to me if I were in that time period, and that's why I'm more drawn to Furuya.
Yeah, I second that
Furuya's
for sure.
version.
It's just easier to like see myself in his position when it's set in a more recent kind of setting. Not to say that the traditional version's like fucking awful. I still gave like Junji Ito's like a 8, high 8, something like that. And the original novel itself is just like an actual like masterpiece. So that is also one way to consume it.
The original novel's by Osamu Dazai, right?
It sure is, yeah. And obviously, like, it is simply set in a kind of more traditional setting in Japan in the novel itself, but it's not so obvious when you're reading it, right? Because he doesn't have these long descriptive paragraphs describing things around him. It's a very stream of conscious type. And so it's very easy to like take his thoughts and situate that in any kind of setting, whether more contemporary, more traditional, whatever. But all that to say, definitely read the novel if given the opportunity. But as far as the manga goes, also, I mean, if given the opportunity, check out whatever. But I still think the Furuya version's the definitive one. But I think there's good reason to think otherwise.
Okay.
Like Archangel Manga, for instance, thinks that the Junji Ito version one is better. So there's lots of respectable people that think otherwise. So it's just like, consume them all, bro.
Noob. What do you have to say about No Longer Human? Or do you have nothing to say like I had nothing to say last episode?
Nothing to say, man. I pretty much not consumed most of them. Or probably, it's like a thing I would just look at and be like, There's only a few that I'm like, alright, good shit. I need to hear more about this.
Is No Longer Human one of those things that is good shit, you need to hear more about this?
No. Honestly, it's something I'm just like, I'm probably not going to consume.
Hey, that's A-okay.
I'm not super crazy for like horror psychological a lot of the time.
Yeah. This is very psychological and thriller. I think the Junji Ito version definitely brings out the horror more, but I don't think the story itself is inherently horrific. Yeah. It's more thrilling than anything. But speaking of novels, though, there is one other manga here based off a novel, and that is, of course, 3 Days of Happiness. This is the most recent addition to my 3x3.
This is the only one I have heard nothing about except the title. So, go off, Doofy.
I have heard about it. It's one that I really want to fucking read.
Me too.
But there isn't a goddamn physical of it.
Buy the light novel, man.
Does the light novel have a physical?
Yes, it does.
Oh.
I'm going to have to pick it up
myself. I'm not doing a fucking light novel. Who the fuck do you think I am, bitch?
The light novel slander, bro.
Manga.
Okay. The light novel slander is intense.
Alright, light novels, they're cool, right? But they're just novels at the end of the day.
I just prefer heavy novels,
if you like
That's my problem with light novels. They're not heavy enough.
Yeah, I don't like regular reading, honestly. Not really the vibe for me. I'm extremely slow at reading. I'm extremely stupid, too. I've always been bad in school. Like, I've always get roasted by an English teacher being like, you dumbass can't interpret the work. It's like, fuck you, bitch. You took the interpretation off a wiki page. Stop capping, bro.
Man, this man's got a lot of trauma.
These teachers be cap.
Yeah,
these teachers be capping.
My experience is not very kindly, so I let more like manga because there's all the images and shit, Light reading, generally, though, all the manga I get has a lot of, it's dialogue heavy, so there's still a good amount of reading in them.
By the way,
Yeah.
now I'm sorry. Just like a quick thing to note about your 3x3 is that I really see a lot of really short series, except of course Naruto in the middle. But all of these are actually pretty short. Eden of the East,
For Beck.
not long. Dark.
Beck and Naruto.
Well,
probably
Beck and Naruto, and the rest is all like short. That's just a quick thing I wanted to know. That
Yeah. I mean, that's just.
why do you have so many short things on here?
Because I like being able to like get an entire story in one go, and that's why short things are always preferable to me. I like to just find like a nice 2-volume read, sit down and read it all in one go, so you get like the full scope, and you get to maintain the constant momentum of the series in one sitting. When you have to fragment it and break it up, I feel like that kind of thwarts my enjoyment. The kind of, I might forget little details, or losing that momentum, or not having that same excitement at the end of like a cliffhanger. Yeah, those things are problematic. So to me, it's like short, better, because I can just go and very quickly read it.
Yeah,
the obvious
me
downside
too. I have. Yeah.
The obvious downside, of course, is
sorry, I cut you off again.
It could be short for, maybe it was canceled, or, if it's short, there's not a lot of room to go into detail with certain things and what have you. But in my experience, a lot of the short things I read are typically better than the long things.
Yeah, I have exactly the same
sucks.
thing.
Yeah, hashtag
No,
fuck long
I hate
shows.
I hate long shit. No, really, fuck all of them.
Yeah.
Like the longest show I have in my 3x3 is 12 volumes long, and
Nice.
that's about it.
Yeah.
The rest are all shorter. So,
Absolutely.
bro,
I watched a lot of
I really
long-running shows when I was younger. I kind of got all that out when I was younger, but now it's
you
like...
got the burnout. It's like, I can't do that
It's like,
anymore.
yeah,
I built like that.
I've watched Zatch Bell when I was younger, I watched Kirby Right Back at You. I've watched original Shaman King, Naruto, Bleach.
Kirby right back at you.
Of course.
Bro.
All the classic long-running shows, tailored towards kids, of course.
No.
But,
Yeah, of course.
to
yeah.
return to 3 Days of Happiness, as the subtitle suggests, it's just this regular-ass world, with one exception. There's this shop that allows you to... that evaluates your life and then allows you to sell that, or any portion of it, for, some equivalent, yen currency. Or there are two other options. You can also, like, give them so much of your time to work for them, and then you get it back, and then you get some kind of compensation, like monetarily. And I think there's like one more about your health you can sell. So it's a pretty interesting concept, and I've talked about this in other videos, where I just love having otherwise regular worlds just slightly twisted by like a little sci-fi element. An example also that I've talked about in the past in like movies and cinema is Eternal Sunrise in the Spotless Mind, where again, completely regular setting, but they have the ability to just erase an entire person from your memory. And I think that just creates a lot more interesting interactions and different possible dynamics between characters. Anyways, in this particular case, the guy goes to sell his life. They do the evaluation, and they give him a number, and he's like, damn, my life's only worth this? I thought for sure by now I would have been, like, a fucking famous painter or something. And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. What else am I going to do? I'll sell my life. Now, when you sell your life, there's, like, somebody that watches you. There's an observer, because obviously, once you know how much time you have left, you're going to start acting up. So the observer is there to watch over you. And he gets this female observer. And that's all I'm going to say.
I see where that's going.
And they fall in love.
You see where it goes. Right, exactly. I mean, it's obvious. It's marketed as a romance. You know this is going to happen. This is not a spoiler. But I don't know, just the way the relationship develops is just... it's truly magical to me. It just feels so natural, because she does really present like a disinterested perspective on him in the beginning. And he is really like, well, I have no time to live. Do you want to have sex or whatever? And she's like, no. Moving on. Anyways, they do actually inevitably come together in the end as a pair, and it's just the most beautiful ending.
They come together.
Stop ruining it, TAIYO. This is beautiful work. Stop burning it to the ground.
But yeah, it's excellent. The ending had me sobbing, and manga typically can't do that. So the fact that this was able to achieve that was pretty monumental in my opinion. And Yeah, it's just such a beautiful
have you
ending.
read any other manga?
I can sob at manga pretty well, actually.
What else have I sobbed at? I read Half and Half recently. I cried at that. Our Happy Time I've also cried at. Again, more of these short dramas.
Bro, I have no clue what these are.
Yeah, that's...
I have no clue, man.
Very much... Half and Half is very similar to 3 Days of Happiness, and I think it's in my top 15 now. It's also beautiful. It's a little more provocative and less romantic. I mean, there's definitely great romance to Half and Half as well, but, like, there's more sexual content than 3 Days of Happiness. 3 Days of Happiness is a more pure, wholesome romance with a good drama element. Half and Half... Still wholesome, still wholesome. It still has that really cool little metaphysical twist in there, but there is, you know, they don't shy away from the sexual. It's not so upfront, but it's present. Anyways, blah blah blah. 3 Days of Happiness. I don't know. I was just incredibly moved when I read it. And, like, I knew instantly that it was going to be like my top 5 manga.
It probably will be with mine too
It's
if I
awesome.
ever got to fucking read it.
I hope you do, man. I hope
Print
you
it
do.
physically.
Well, you've caved a little bit. You've been reading that Uma Musume manga.
All right.
That's a scan. I think
All
there's
right.
room eventually for you to read 3 Days of Happiness because I think you would love this. This is this is a noob story. Like,
but why are you? Yeah, but why are you so against scans, bro? I don't get it.
I just don't
Or do
like
you not-
reading through a scan, bro. It's gross.
yeah, it's hard
It's
on the eyes,
putrid.
man. I second.
Yeah,
that.
and I definitely have like eye problems when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, dude. After like I had this big
Oh.
binge where I like read all of Attack on Titan and then all of Bleach like back to back on scans over like a week, and my eyes were like this. Like afterwards, I'm like, oh my god. So
After like
Oh,
30
yeah,
minutes, I'm done for.
Bro, I take so many breaks while I'm reading anything on like a screen, even
as
just
you should, yeah.
even just normal literature or reviews or anything. I always cater more to like watching it on my big TV over here. That's just better to watch reviews and things than actually read them on a website. But that's me, man.
No,
That's me.
I'm with that for sure.
Okay, but 3 Days of Happiness actually really sounds interesting. When I'm quite a fan of like romance stories. Some of my favorite romance anime are Oregairu or
Snafu.
Snafu. Your Lie in April is amazing. And I also really just like wholesome shit, otherwise known as Barakamon, my favorite anime. So
I also fucking love
I am
Barakamon. But spoiler for the next episode, I guess.
We've only talked about 3, god damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already checked the time. It's already terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into a quick one, and I think this is gonna be quick, aka Eden of the East.
Oh, this is a pretty quick one. Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those series that my love for is almost entirely motivated by just like personal reasons. You know what I mean? And when they dropped the famous, you know, you watch it at the right time in your life. That was very much me with the Eden of the East. I don't know, because it was just a super fun and like uplifting kind of romance comedy, rom-com you might say. I love the main character Akira Takizawa. I think he is incredibly down-to-earth and relatable, despite, you know, having amnesia during the course of the series, and also having this kind of like godly power, we might say. But go on.
Bro, the first episode, I fucking love him. I love him so much.
Yeah.
I want to watch more.
I
don't know why I stopped.
He just wakes up naked in front of the White
TAIYO.
Office.
Come on, bro.
It's
We'll watch it together, man.
this is very fun.
And he's just waving his gun.
Yeah.
And he's just waving his gun.
Yep.
Like,
Naked with a gun in front of the White
hello,
House.
I'm naked.
Yeah. As Saki like throws rocks at like the White House. I don't know. It's pretty fun. I love like the main.
Doesn't she
romance.
throw coins?
Or maybe it's coins.
She
yeah.
tries to throw a coin in. Yeah, she tries to throw a coin in
the fountain. Yes.
Yeah, in a fountain.
And then like
yeah.
the guards come out or whatever, and they run, and
yeah, it's so cool.
it is.
It's so
I
cool.
think even like the romance is really the driving force of this, the romance and the comedy. But like I love the whole setup of like the Seleção, and they all, you know, these 12 guys were given a cell phone and like 1 billion yen to try and change Japan for the better, and they all use the money in very different ways. And obviously, all we know about Akira is that he has the phone, and he has not all of the money. And so obviously, we're trying to figure out what exactly he did with the money beforehand, what other people are doing, and we find out more about Akira through his interactions with these other Selisao and other people. It's really a great setup. The romance is awesome. The comedy is excellent as well. This is one that I've watched a number of times. Sorry, I just brain freeze for a second. Yeah, this is super fun. Also, you have to watch the two movies. You have to watch the two movies too. The second movie is, first one's like pretty good too, but the second one is.
The one thing, I don't trust Doofy's taste in comedy.
That's fine.
Bro, do you trust my taste?
I think there's probably some contrast in our taste in comedy.
Yeah.
There's probably a little bit of overlap. Like, we're not completely on the far end, but, like,
yeah.
I don't think we're together with it.
Yeah.
Like, there's shit like Prison School, I'm like, this is in no way going to be funny.
Well,
I don't even need to watch it.
Eden of the East comedy is not at all, like, comparable to Naruto's. It's not, like, slapstick. It is very much more subtle, less on the nose.
Prison School is peak comedy. Shut the fuck up.
You see, okay, me and TAIYO may not overlap.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Okay, but wait. Do you like comedy like Grand Blue?
I've not
never watched.
Or read.
What? Bitches, watch it. You gotta watch it. It's so good.
That's 4 out of 9. Yeah. So we're slowly burning them through. I think another quick one.
Yeah.
Is Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. It's just hype, man.
The only reason why I didn't watch it was because of the mechas.
That's fair.
At least me and TAIYO agree.
That's fair.
Weak.
I honestly do not like mech in theory as a genre, but this just didn't feel like a mech to me.
You have 2 of them in your...
exactly right. Like, I don't love Eva or Gurren Lagann because of the mechs. I like them for everything else. In Gurren Lagann in particular, it's like, for one, I think it has an interesting art direction, and I think it just looks very nice paired with the soundtrack. Yeah. So on the most basic aesthetic level, like, this gets the check on the vibe check very, very highly at that. But I do think...
What studio did it again?
Gainax, baby.
Oh, Gainax, yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. The goats themselves. I don't know. For me, it's characters. It's the hype moments, man. It's
Don't believe in yourself. Huh? Believe in me. Believe in the Kamina who believes in you.
It's the...
Just who the hell do you think I am?
It's the...
My drill is... the drill that's gonna pierce the heavens!
Do you know what I mean? It's like every time that something like that happens, it's just like fucking chills down my spine. It's... I don't know.
Bro, all these references are like fucking potatoes to me, bro. I have no
They're
clue.
just like famous lines from Gurren Lagann. Literally, it's just fucking hype, man. Like, I don't have any complex analysis here. I've heard a lot of people criticize Gurren Lagann for different
opening's
problems.
good.
It has amazing opening. Like, I don't know, bro. It's just fucking... It's so moving in the most basic sense possible.
Let's just... I'm gonna watch it anyway because I have it on my priority PTR. PTW.
I feel like your PTW is also gonna fill up pretty quickly.
It's going to just have 1,000.
No, but I already have it on my PTW, so no worries, bro.
Okay.
No worries.
So now we're at 5 out of 9.
Okay.
So now we're burning through them.
Yes. Yeah.
What's next? What do we do next, man?
Okay.
New pick one, man.
Beck.
Okay. Beck Manga Only Chop Squad is always back and forth as my favorite manga, and I've actually very recently decided that the anime is now my second favorite anime, next to Naruto, because I think I was foolish to deny otherwise.
Goddamn.
Because I don't know. Again, I've talked about this before, and I'm going to make the same points as I made before, but I think it just does a really great job giving the full scope of, like, the band experience, going from these couple of strangers and how they happen to come upon one another, and the situations were just right, where Ryusuke was falling out with his band, and he was now motivated to kind of compete with the previous singer/guitarist of the band to make the new best band, and so Ryusuke is now motivated to kind of get a band together. At the same time, Koyuki's coming about Ryusuke through complete chance, and he ends up going to hang out with Maho, Ryusuke's little sister, more. She hears him sing, and like, oh my god, you can actually kind of sing. At the same time, Koiki thinks Ryusuke's kind of badass for playing guitar and wants to learn guitar, and then that's the first little piece of the band. And then there's this other bassist that's kind of well-known, Taiga, and Ryusuke's like, do you want to join my band? It's going to be the best ever. And then he's like, if you can get a singer, and then, you know, see already we have like those 3 pieces coming together. Then we get Chiba coming into the mix, and then we get Koyuki's friend coming in as the drummer, and then boom, band starts. That's ground one. So that's the kind of first little bit, just the drama, the comedy, like all those little slice of life things around them coming together as a band. And the tensions that led to them coming there. Fun. Good solid start. Then there's the fun stuff. There's this now established band trying to... Their first obstacle is to play a show. And there's a lot of like kind of pseudo-political stuff going on because Ryusuke was involved with the bad crowds back in the day, and so he has stuff that he shouldn't have. And so, you know, the motherfuckers basically want him dead because he has like, you know, BB King's like old guitar or whatever, Lucy, or Prudence, whatever they call it in the anime. And they're like... You're good as long as you can get more people to fill this arena than the main stage. And they're like, there's no way we're doing this. And anyway, sure enough, they do. That's like the first little arc. There's so many like industry structures against the band succeeding, and yet they succeed anyways. And so that's really nice. And that's really where the anime ends. But then the manga goes even fucking farther. Then there's the struggles for them to do good afterwards because there's still all this industry pressure against them because they kind of made the wrong people mad. Ryusuke in particular. But, you know, then there's the fights for them to produce the first album and do an even bigger show, then another album, get that to America, and then they go... Anyway, it just keeps going upwards and upwards and upwards. Like, it's literally the whole band journey, and it's very well done, I think. The attention to detail, like, with the guitars and, like, their history and different rock band references throughout. And just, I think there's some really well-written characters. Ryusuke's dynamic with Eddie is one of the best. I love Koiki as he kind of looks to Ryusuke as a kind of model for his own life, so he can turn himself from this kind of boring, self-loathing person to someone who's exciting, can learn to appreciate himself, and, you know, be proud of the things he accomplishes. And I don't know, this was always super relatable because, of course, you know, I'm always super big into music, and I think it does do a good job depicting kind of the internal struggles of band life and just the struggles of making it in the industry, so on and so forth. That's my Beck speech.
Honestly,
also cried to this one. Also cried to this manga. So,
I think of like all the things you've listed besides 3 Days of Happiness. 3 Days of Happiness, almost guaranteed I'll like it. Beck is probably one that I would probably like more than like any of the other ones. Like a lot of them, I don't think have too much of a chance. Beck probably does have a chance because you have said it's more about character dramas in a way. That's something I really like. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it is.
Fuck if I care for action in any way. I'm just like whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. There is
right?
like there is some very like battle shonen-y slapstick comedy in it though, which I think would turn you off a bit. But I don't know.
It won't fully get me into it, but like, you know. And then I don't have the relatability when it comes to where you are as a person. And
exactly.
Then how it relates.
Yeah.
And I am getting that anime this season, which is actually pretty nice. That I think more relates to me. So I'm kind of getting my Beck.
Right, exactly.
In a way.
We all need our Beck. I think from the list, 3 Days is one you would absolutely love. And I still am optimistic you'd at least give like Eden a 7.
Alright.
What do you think about me? Which one would I like the most out of your...
Gurren Lagann,
about the ones we have talked about?
Probably Gurren Lagann,
really?
Yeah.
You really haven't seen my 3x3.
You really haven't seen Gurren Lagann, have you? Checkmate, atheists.
Bro. Okay, no, but okay, interesting. That I didn't expect that. I thought you would say something like No Longer Human or Eden.
That's what you want me to say. But I just said no. Fuck that, Gurren Lagann.
For someone who hasn't read the manga or has seen the anime, which one is the best to start with?
That's a
to
good
really
question.
get into it.
Well, if you, that's such a good question.
I think if you're strict on animation, go for the manga.
Yeah, the animation, I still love it.
It has the aged like CGI with like the playing on the guitar.
The
and
CGI
shit, right?
guitars could be like, I don't know.
I've seen things with it. It doesn't look that great.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that bad.
Guys,
but
I have watched 6 episodes of X-Arm. I think I can make it through Beck. Yeah. I don't care about the animation at all.
The anime is still amazing. I think the music they play in the show is fucking awesome, and that's why I do think it's a great starting point. The only thing is, you would have to still like go back and reread all the manga because they have to change a lot of like just names and like references, because of course it's easier to put a rock and roll reference in a manga than it is to, you know, put it in the English and, you know, license it and, you know, publishing rights and stuff. So there are like pretty like significant changes like that, but it's not that significant also. Like Ryusuke's guitar name changes.
But isn't it a bummer that you can't... Oh, sorry, I talked.
That's good. I have nothing else to say.
No, but it doesn't it feel like a real bummer that the music doesn't continue through like the manga, because the only things you probably see are like speech bubbles or like with like bam bada bam bada bam.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel like really like, doesn't that take you out of the story? Because I had that with Your Lie in April when I tried to read the manga.
You're reading Your Lie.
I was like,
oh god.
No, but it's one of my favorite music.
I can just look at Your Lie in April
anime.
and it desperately needs its music, especially on the factor that, you know, they use the music of like, oh, I don't know how to play this, and then they transform and they're like getting good at that shit. Like we need to see that. We need to hear that transition being done. You know, it can't be done through manga simply enough.
Well, if it can't be done through manga, why is it one of the most popular musical mangas out there?
Because
before it even got the anime,
it's carried by like the
drama. Before it got the anime, it was already. Yeah, it's carried by the drama. It's not all about the music.
Yeah.
Of course, I understand your points, but it's still. I
still think it's good
through the manga.
I bet the manga will still be good. Mm-hmm. But fuck, bro, if you want to give it the peak fiction score, you gotta watch the anime for it.
Like the other thing too is though,
of course,
with the manga,
yeah, I agree though.
It's not like they're performing every chapter, right? It's, you know, they only have certain amount of gigs and they're only recording at certain times. Again, it's primarily driven by the drama around the band and the, you know, the difficulties of succeeding as a musical group. That is kind of in its charm, and you know, and honestly, it doesn't linger too much on the performances outside of like, you know, significant ones like that very first performance where they succeed over like the main stage act. But later on, like if they're playing a random gig, like it'll literally be like three pages maybe. Like you get like a nice full spread of them on the stage, you know, a couple panels of them playing their instruments, and then it's after the show, because it's not like a peak or a climax there. It's again, it's like this is, you know, a part of the job, but it's like that's not the peak of the narrative at that point when they're just performing, you know, at some other little place.
Okay. Another question about Beck. Is it anything like Snow White Notes, like the really cool, weird anime from spring?
No, not.
Or was it like
not entirely?
No, but it.
Well, it still has the same.
Does it have any?
It has the same dynamic of like, well, the main guy in Snow White Notes was, you know, teaching the little club to try and, you know, perform on stage in front of like a whatever, right? I mean, there is that kind of thing in the sense that like Ryusuke's a seasoned vet in the music scene. He already had experience with another band that was met with, you know, like local success, we might say. But he's not really the only one. I mean, TAIYO was also kind of, you know, big elsewhere. I think Chiba might have also seen.
Okay.
But like, you know, I mean, at least the dynamic between Ryusuke and Koyuki's friend, the drummer, whose name I always forget, that's kind of similar, because they're literally like middle schoolers with like, you know, no idea what's going on. So the way that Ryusuke takes them under his wing, especially Koyuki, is significant, because he teaches him how to play guitar also. So that it's slightly similar, but for me, the linchpin of Snow White Notes was, you know, the protagonist struggling to find his own sound. You kind of see that with Koyuki, like trying to struggle to like, you know, become like his own guitarist, not just Ryusuke. It's very subtly there, but it's not like the core theme the same way it is in Snow White Notes, or like with Barakaman and like the protag trying to figure out calligraphy in his own way, or Your Lie in April with Kosei trying to figure out how to play music not so robotically. Like it's not as upfront as in those shows, but it's there.
Okay, yeah, I really liked subtle things, so I think I will really like Beck too. So okay, that's dope. Let's go on to I don't want to end off on Evangelion. We're gonna talk about Evangelion
right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I just think that Evangelion is like a masterclass in like subtle writing. I think it is so incredible how Ano has built like this massive and expansive world in these, you know, 26 episodes plus one movie, and during your first go around, it is, some of it's jarring. It's not obvious to you why something's here or isn't there. But once you think more about it, you go back through it, you look at what's there from the first episode, what's there from the second episode. All the evidence is there from the very beginning to piece together the total story, and it's just not obvious until you've thought about the ending. And to me, I think just the way that it all comes together is really beautiful. I also just think that there's so much material to work with and interpret, that this is like, again, like the one anime to really splurge with in terms of, you know, doing deep dives into different aspects of it. There's not like a single like character that couldn't have like a 20-hour analysis. Like, I just think that there's so much depth and different dynamics to work out in Evangelion. But for me, more than anything, like, I know a lot of people like to play up like Asuka's, like, you know, psychological trauma and like her relationship with Shinji, and likewise with Shindy. And I think the characters are great and very well written, but for me, again, it's just the world that they build, you know, with the angels and their background, the lore, how they got on Earth, Lilith, you know, it's just, there's so many cool world building things that I love. That's why I love in like anime.
Okay.
I like world building. I like metaphysics. I like, you know, weird understandings of the world. I think Evangelion does that beautifully, and the ending is masterful. Again, you know, there's obviously conflicting.
Okay, but question.
Shoot.
Does it include like the movies as well, or just like the first 24 episodes and nothing else?
Well, it's the 26 episodes and the end of Eva movie.
Oh, sorry, 26.
Is it 26, Noob? I think it is, right?
It's 26,
yeah, it's 26. So yeah, I'm talking about like
people like to write off 25 and 26, but it's still there.
I think it's important to keep them in there, because I really think that like that's two sides of the same coin. End of Eva is like the more objective standpoint of what actually happening, but 25 and 26 in the anime is very much just like so colored with Shinji's perspective on the matter that it's not obvious what is going on. I still think that the show itself has a great ending, but I think it just becomes like over the top with End of Eva, and you can really contextualize that more in a kind of more concrete view of what is actually happening, instead of a bunch of people saying congratulations, congratulations, congratulations,
Congratulations.
But that's, in a word, why I like Eva. That world building more than anything, and just how subtle it is, and how expansive it is, despite only 26 episodes in the movie.
Is it time for me to roast you, bud?
And now it's time for Noob's absolutely
Doofy
polar
was sitting
opposite
here.
take.
No one.
Okay. Before you go on your rant, Noob, I want to ask one question. The question that's on everyone's mind: do you want to fuck the monotone chick or the other one?
What'd you ask? Did you ask who the best girl in Eva was? Neither. We like
They're
Misato.
underage, bruh.
We like Misato in this house. We like respectable of-age women.
The fuck you like Misato? At least go Ritsuko.
Ritsuko?
Or
This is a hand.
Ritsuko is,
This is a hand going through the
another
screen
respectable
to
choice.
give you a handshake.
Alright.
Very respectable. I agree.
Anyways, Noob, please take the floor.
Hot take. Eva is fucking garbage. Oh shit. You know. Never see that coming. People who know me already know I love the shit on Eva. And I made the clarification. I don't actually hate on it. Like, hate it. I don't think it's like, you know, frustratingly bad or anything.
But
right?
you gave it a 3 out of 10, though. That's, to me, pretty
I think it is-
frustrating, really bad.
I
But
think
that's
it
your
is
number after all, I guess.
fucking boring as hell, right?
This motherfucker.
You know, it's putting me to sleep, right? It's that type of bad. Not like I'm getting, you know, just seethed with anger of like how terribly it's written, right? There's shows like that I just hate it, the writing and all the dynamics of it. Full of Cooley is like one I hate. Ava is one that I just think's boring, and that's why I don't like it. One thing with Ava, I do feel like people make it out like it's the biggest, deepest work there is. And I respect people who make the deep interpretations. Doofy, I believe you know, you worked and made your interpretation. You said you went back and watched it again. You looked over it again.
Yeah.
Right? So I can respect that. If you've rewatched Ava, I'll respect your Ava take. There's people who watch it once, and they're like, this is the deepest thing ever. I'm like, nah, bruh. You're just like my fucking 12th grade teacher who looked up the interpretation on a Wikipedia page and like, yep, this is my opinion as well. This is truly deep.
You know what?
Bruh, you're probably sitting there not enjoying it. You're like, but you're going bandwagon. I'm telling you. That's a lot of Eva fans.
I largely agree with you, actually, I think. I mean, obviously, you can never tell for certain if somebody is, like, you know, being genuine with their take on Eva or what have you. I think it is just so highly regarded and has such a cult following that, like, there is pressure, like, if you fall into a certain, like, demographic / you know, enjoy a certain genre of anime and manga, there is almost just the pressure to, like, you know, Evangelion, for instance. And
yeah, I think one of the worst things about it is it's definitely the biggest fandom that if you say I don't get it, it's like you did not understand, as like a very insulted, vitriolic thing.
Yeah.
So Ava's probably the worst when it comes to it, but you're right. There's no way to gauge it. And then
the whole if you don't like it, you didn't get it bit is, I don't know. I feel like that's such a disingenuous thing to say to somebody, because it's like, for one, and this goes off on a huge hermeneutic like tangent, but like I highly disagree that there is an objective meaning to Evangelion. I don't even think Anno has any right or authority to determine the meaning of his work. I think that we can all do our own work to have fun with it and develop some interpretation, but to assume that somebody didn't get it is simply to assume that there is some objective thing they're not getting, which I don't think is the case. So I just think it's a groundless claim to claim that they don't understand it. But that aside, I think a more reasonable thing to say is that you were, you know, you went into it bad faith, or you are not giving it the charitability it might need to really percolate a good interpretation that would cause you to like it more. But again, this is a community that is bad for, like, you don't like it, you don't get it.
Yeah, end of the day, I've explained that I'm not charitable towards the show and its interpretation. And the reason for that is because I was bored off the start.
Exactly, and I definitely
did give it the fair shake. You know, I went in like, all right, time to watch it.
You did.
Let's see if I like it, you know?
Yeah.
All right? Mm-hmm. And then I go in, I'm like getting bored off the start, and because of that, I'm not going deep in thinking, oh, look at all this deep shit.
Exactly, and that's the thing too, right? It's like, I think your charitability towards a series is highly contingent upon your emotional response. So if you are just not a person who is conditioned to like this sort of this slow burn psychological stuff, you are going to be bored, and that's going to influence your willingness to like look into it any deeper than, you know, just the basic what you need to get through the series. And like I don't think that there's anything right or wrong about that. It's you like what you like, and I think generally anime manga is for entertainment, so you should capitalize on those things that you know you will like, and I don't think you should try to just fit in for the sake of fitting in. But so all that to say, I don't think that you have I don't think you have like a wrong take on Eva. It's obviously different than mine, but like, if you simply don't like that kind of material, like that's just not that material, that execution is not for you, then like, fuck it, live your life and watch something else, and you do.
There you go.
AK, everything is subjective. Everything is subjective.
Eva
so
talk over.
Fuck off with your wrong interpretation. You can suck my nuts.
But I also am hesitant to just say it's all subjective, because yes, we all know it's true, but like I feel like it becomes a cop out at a certain point. Like if I wanted to have an actual discussion about Eva with Noob, and I think Snowball, if you're watching this, I'm sure you are, he has a good point about, like, you know, Noob says that he's bored about Eva, but if we wanted to have an actual conversation, that's not enough. And, you know, I could press him more, like, what did you find boring? What was not enjoying? What was not working for you? We'd go through it more methodically. We'd try to... Because you're never just bored of a series.
Of course.
Boredom is the sum total of the parts. So it's like the sum total of all these interactions you had with certain parts of the show that you found boring. And we can look at those parts, and that's where the discussion happens. Just saying it's boring doesn't work.
Digging deeper into points. At some point, it becomes this is just subjective in this claim, and I can't really give too much contextualization to it.
But you can at least point to something more concrete.
Thread. You go down and down and down until you hit the bottom of it, really.
You need to at least point to something concrete that was born. That's more meaningful than saying, you know, entire show with all this, you know, conventionally is held to have a lot of merit, or at least it's widely recognized that there are a lot of symbols that can be taken in many ways in there. So obviously we would need to kind of bring your analysis down to each of those levels and see why it didn't work for you. But that's not the point of this video, obviously. That's why we're not doing that. But I just want to clarify, we do recognize that.
And of course, we're trying to keep it short, and going that deep will take long.
No, but of course, when it comes to subjectivity, of course, you can't just say IMO and that's it.
Yes.
You can't do that. Then there's no point to discussing anything.
Exactly.
Then there's no point of analyzing anything.
You're right.
And of course, when I say everything is subjective, I do not mean that you cannot defend your opinion or anything.
Right.
Or that I will say I like this because I like it and it's my opinion and that's it. Of course, you have to point out. It's the same with why you like something. You have to point out what you like before you can actually say that you like something.
Right. You need to.
But that's
especially in terms of literary analysis, you need to have textual evidence to support your arguments, and that's everything. So you can have a better, or you can have a better. I don't know if better or worse is adequate here, but like you can have a more or less grounded interpretation in the text. And we can talk about that, but that's a completely different. That's still operating, obviously, within the realm of subjectivity. But again, that's just one way to do productively without just simply saying, throwing your hands in the air and saying it's everyone's opinion. That's just the worst way to go about it. But it is all subjective. Super long tangent. That's Ava. I love it. Masterpiece, 10 out of 10. Can't wait to watch Thrice Upon a Time. Still haven't watched it yet. Rebuild movies are awesome.
I may well watch the Rebuild movies if I'm watching it with someone else.
Respectable. I think you'd enjoy them more. Interesting.
Probably. I actually think I may enjoy them more for probably modern production because I actually, honestly, shallow criticism as it may be, I don't like its old production values that, it's shown.
Dude,
I think it's shown age.
That's totally fine. I totally think otherwise.
I have the same problem. No, I have the same problem. I can almost not get into older anime for some reason. It's just the sound effects that are in anime just
y'all trifling
make me want to puke.
I know the 4x3 era
was beautiful, and I wish we had it back.
When I watched Naruto, the main gripe I had was the fucking sound effects and the soundtrack.
This motherfucker. Soundtrack was awesome with Naruto, bro. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Not the first 18 episodes. The same song was playing every goddamn 5 minutes. The same song though.
Slap.
It's the same.
Best fucking soundtrack. Eat shit, Tayo.
Bro.
What do you think? Your claims stand ground, bruh. Shut up.
I just couldn't get into the with the
awesome.
flute,
the fire melody,
bro.
Very moving.
Bro, the melody is cool, but why do it every 6 times, every fucking episode?
I can almost get. I can
change
guarantee you
it
right
up
now.
Like once.
Right now, if we were to watch those 24 episodes, it would not be nearly as much as you're claiming. You're just dramatic.
Bro. I heard that flute at least every time Naruto was like, "Oh my god, this is. I need to do this because I want to." And like,
it's not every. That's not even their only sad song though. So I know as a fact that's not correct. They have other ones from Naruto's like in those. No. I meant like when the action starts going, with like the flute with the action, like the action, like the cool. Like I thought you were doing like the sad one where it's like.
No. That one is good. I agree.
Just like the doo-doo-doos. Doofy always gets into singing in the podcast.
So what are you talking? Are you talking one that goes like wow?
Yeah, that one.
That's awesome, dude. Do you not get chills every time you see that?
I want to fucking.
And then I was like,
I want to fucking strangle someone.
It's so good. Whatever. Fuck Tayo.
Bro, it's the same with the Tokyo Revenger soundtrack. Every time the fucking guitar starts playing, go fuck yourself, cunt.
Hashtag
bro.
Cancel Tayo.
Oh. Hashtag fuck off. Make a more interesting soundtrack. I do not play it every 5 minutes.
If it's good, bro. If it's good, use it, man. If it's good, use it, dog. It's really not that much.
To get back to Evangelion for like a quick second. Evangelion is fucking amazing when it comes to animation.
Oh yeah.
And also
it's
terrible
so good.
sometimes.
I think it's I think it's
No,
I think
it's
it's
not.
phenomenal through and through.
Bro, they have entire minutes of just the
every
same
action-
frame, bro.
They do. That's a very pointed decision, though. You know what I mean?
Remember.
Like that was a very pointed decision to literally have, you know, Shinji and his Eva holding Kaoru like that. Because he's contemplating, bro. He's contemplating his next action. This is like
But there's
monumental
many
for him.
others, like the one in the elevator. I think the one in the elevator.
That's
gets
another
referenced
very
a lot.
pointed. That's another very pointed thing that they intentionally did. That they draw that.
And
out
then they
for-
have the fucking porta potty scroll that they do for an entire minute and 15 seconds.
I don't think this is lazy. I think this is
Wait,
very much
wait,
pointed.
Doofy.
Yeah.
Doofy. Now, I know that is your interpretation, but it's not his interpretation. So when you say it's chosen by the people who made the show, you're actually going against your own point.
No, I'm not. He is trying to
The
say...
toilet one, the
No,
toilet
no,
one
no,
is
no.
early in the show. There's
He
no
is
depth
trying
to that moment,
say that there is
It's not fucking pointed.
no depth.
I think the
he's trying to
elevator
say that it's
possibly
lazy.
pointed.
He's trying to say that it's lazy and or bad animation. I think that
But he thinks that lazy and
right,
bad.
but lazy is ascribing an intention to the creator. I'm saying that no, as far as I can tell, the intention of the creator was to draw this out for us to contemplate longer because this is not just a moment that we have to kind of flash by
Right?
in the context of the
I
show.
do think the elevator scene.
It's not laziness. Dude, the
I do
elevator
think
scene
the
is so
elevator
famous
scene
for a
is fine.
reason. Okay, thank
I
God.
think the elevator scene is fine.
And so is
the
Shinji holding
toilet
Kaoru.
one though.
Okay,
The toilet one though is in episode 5 when there's none of this big build up. Asuka isn't there, Rei isn't there. It's just two random dudes talking. That was just lazy.
it's not
alright?
obvious to me what's happening in that scene because I don't really remember it. So I'll let you have that one. But you have to give me the elevator scene and you have to give me Shinji holding Kaoru. Especially
I'll give you
holding
Shinji
Kaoru.
holding Kaoru. I'll give you half points on the elevator.
I'll take that. But let me be clear. This was not me saying the author intended this, therefore it is right. This is me saying, no, Noob is ascribing a belief to the author, an intention, and that I think is just not wrong or not correct. And that is an objective metric. We can kind of quantify what somebody thought when creating it, at least if they're explicit about it in some way. Can't quantify it per se, but if Ano's like, I drew this scene out for reason X, we can at least say there's an objective metric to evaluate his intention. That's obviously
wasn't
not
trying to go
the
with the
objective
creator.
meaning of it all, but
I was doing,
that's
just
the
very
semantics of what's going
basic.
on here. It's not
Bro,
lazy.
just real quick.
Are we still on
real
Ava?
quick,
Like, what
Doofy.
anime
I'm
are we
so
on? Are we on
fucking-
Beck? Or like, I feel like we're everywhere. I talked about Yu Yu Hakusho.
We're gonna go to Darker Than Black in like a second, but one thing I do have to say, I'm so fucking jealous of your vocabulary, man. Your vocabulary, like metric, quantify. Bro, I have never heard of these words until I met
I'm a
you.
philosopher, bro. I gotta have those on
Really,
deck. Gotta have those ready.
I forget to use big words, honestly.
I
use it in
feel
writing, but-
illiterate when I'm sitting next to you. I feel illiterate when I'm sitting next and talking to you, because my vocabulary is. I have a big Dutch vocabulary. Yeah, of course I do. That's my native language. But my second language is English, and bro.
It's not
Bro.
the words you use; it's how you use
Bro.
them to communicate. I could word soup you, and I think that would be worse than just using the
Yeah.
most basic words to describe an idea. I think there's more value in precision and clarity, and I think you find that using simpler words. I'm just more.
We treat you as smart. That's why we use the big words.
Precision,
Take that, Grayson.
precision and clarity.
That's not
Bro,
big words,
like
dude.
I know
That's-
these are.
Clarity's
No,
not big.
No, but no, it's not. It's not a big word, but the way you said it after each other, like precision and clarity. Let's now talk. Let's now talk about our favorite, my favorite edgy boy, Hero Hey. Sorry, just Hey, from Darker Than Black.
Yes, Darker Than Black. Again, common pattern going across all of these. This was like one of the anime I got into first when I got on my serious anime binge in like 2013 or 2012. It was on Netflix. I remember watching the first 2 episodes. I was texting my best friend, and I'm like, "Yo, this shit kind of sucks," and I stuck it out. And sure enough, like it just became so riveting. I don't know. It became emblematic of its time for me because like every fall now, I'm reminded of that first time I watched Darker Than Black. I think that the music from Darker Than Black was like the soundtrack of like fall for me. And every time it's fall, every time that certain quality of the air comes about, every time I can get that kind of that fall smell, the colors are starting to turn orange. It reminds me so much of Darker Than Black. Everything in the fall points towards Darker Than
So
Black
on
to
my-
me. And it's become
So on my birthday, you're thinking about Darker Than Black.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're not thinking about you, Taiyo.
And I don't know. I mean, like, you know, obviously I have all these psychological reasons to think so highly of it, but I still think that, again, the whole setup of the show is fun. Again, I'm interested in cool metaphysics in shows, and Darker Than Black has this whole setup about the contractors, and they have this weird relation to the stars, but like the real stars, because the actual stars in the city is like a fake veil. It's not real stars, and so, you know, why is there a fake veil there? Like, how did it get there? Who's responsible for it? Well, there's some kind of agency, obviously, and so we have to inquire into the agency, and so the whole political structure behind that, and, you know, whether it's good or bad, and the moral questions that accompany that is one such avenue to take with the show. More interestingly for me, it's like, basic idea. These contractors have some supernatural power, and they have to pay some price for it. That's why they're a contractor. There's essentially a kind of contract with them. November 11th, who is my actual favorite character from the show, has like these kind of water, like ice abilities, and his, you know, the consequence of using that ability is he has to smoke. He has to smoke cigarettes, which is pretty interesting. And so just seeing, you know, the different contracts, I think is interesting. I think the action scenes are fairly well written. Main cast, pretty cool. I like Hay. I don't know. I love Darker Than Black. I don't have any fucking grand analysis of like any of these. It's really just like there's some huge psychological reason that I'm so engaged in it, and that causes me to go back to it over and over again. And that only builds up my excitement and relationship with it. And Darker Than Black is one that I regularly rewatch, like yearly if I can.
Yeah, I have Darker Than Black on my I have had it on my plan to watch list for about 3 years now. Ever since I watched...
it's never getting out of there.
Ever since... No, bro, let me talk for a second.
It's never getting watched.
I wanted to watch it after I watched Black Lagoon. I put it on my plan to watch after I watched Black Lagoon, because I saw a gun, and I was like, Revy was so cool with her gun, and I wanted to see more guys that are also cool with guns.
Simple man, he said.
And... That's why that's why I want, and that's why I put it in my plan to watch list. But ever since I heard that it's Hiro Hei's favorite anime, I was just like, no.
Who's Hiro Hei?
I'm never watching that. Hiro Hei is a fucking cunt of a YouTuber, an anime news outlet. Bro, that guy is such a cunt. I hate him.
Why are you starting fights?
Bro has 400k subscribers. I might want to watch. I might want to fucking take that last one back.
And that's why I'm not watching Darker Than Black.
Dude, believe you me, there are equal anime that I've never watched because I associate them with people I do not like. That's all it takes. Listen, we're at a point right now where like the production anime, it's gonna be like, it's currently like 250, 300 anime a year. It's very quickly going to move to like 500 anime a year. How are you supposed to decide what to watch at a fucking 500 anime a year? Well, here's a solution. NOOBERTON's videos.
Watch all of it.
There he is.
Seasonal anime discussions coming out every season. Don't worry, I'll tell you what to watch.
I find like the most like arbitrary principles possible to like sift through them. Like, I'm open to watching anything, like, if there's enough support, or I think I might like it, but, like, I will use the most arbitrary dog shit, like, if it looks like a shitty isekai, literally on principle, not watching. And that's not even to be, like, just super biased against them in the sense that, like, I don't think I am universally harder on isekai because they're isekai. It's not that kind of dogmatism, but I do stay away from them because I just know that from my experience that I will not enjoy them as much, and so I choose not to watch them. But if I was presented with a good isekai, I think I would evaluate it as such. But nonetheless, I do embrace these really random, like, not random, but like arbitrary principles that are, you know, seemingly dogmatic to sift through anime because there's just too much.
Yeah, I have that same. I use that same metric to other to judge if I want to watch an anime or read a manga as well. Same with Black Clover. I watched the first episode, Asta screaming, only reason why I didn't watch anything else. Same with Naruto. Didn't like the main cast. Fuck it, then I'm not gonna watch more.
Yeah.
Same with One Piece. Didn't like Luffy, even though probably Luffy's fucking cool, and He has a cool power. I just didn't like the voice actor that voiced him. Fuck him. He hope he dies.
Honestly,
yeah. Those little things can ruin an anime so much for me.
No.
And especially with long-running series, I just can't get through it if I don't like a single thing, because then I will only think about that thing while I'm watching it.
Though
I don't have the same problem with short shows.
Like, obviously, for anytime we use like an arbitrary principle to like determine whether or not we watch an anime, there's obviously a lot of particular examples within the show that people can point to like demonstrate why, you know, your evaluation of the show initially is not entirely adequate to the show, or that there are alternatives. Like, for instance, with your critique of One Piece, like you just not liking Luffy's voice actor, immediately they're going to say, read the manga, right? And so they're always going to find a way to argue around you. But like, at the end of the day, I'm not using this principle to cast a judgment on the anime. I'm literally just using it to decide whether or not to watch it, and I'm not watching it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, One Piece, sheer
me
length.
neither.
Sheer length. I'm not reading like 1,000 chapters. Sorry.
Yes, and that
We want just digest it one a day. Come on, man. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, because you can doesn't mean I should.
if I would read 2 chapters of fucking One Piece every day, I will be busy for about the next fucking 5 years, bro.
Actually, 1.5 years, but whatever. We'll get past that.
Bro, I still don't want to read 1 year and a half of fucking One Piece.
Well, you might actually end up liking it after a little longer.
Come on, you're going to like it, man.
Why the
just,
fuck
just
would
watch or read it.
Am I suddenly coming to the defense of One
No,
Piece?
I won't.
Oh wow, the tables have turned.
Why would I? Why would I fucking read it when I can read all this other shit that's probably way better, in my opinion?
But you can read peak fiction.
Dude, you literally just never read
guy.
One Piece, though. If you actually read One Piece, you wouldn't think that, because you wouldn't know One Piece is peak fiction.
One Piece best be good.
The
We're not-
turbos of the One Piece fandom.
Bro, I don't care, like...
Triggered them.
I literally do not care. I like Naruto and Bleach. I am frequently pressed on why I haven't watched more One Piece, and I'm used to interacting with these people, so I'm a vet.
I make sure to have shit taste so they don't want me watching their things.
That's the pro strat move.
They'll be like, oh, he'll say have a shit take on it. Don't make him watch it. Don't worry.
I have a day one more manga boss.
Oh, yeah, only one more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, we
Wait,
almost
you
got
still
through.
have one?
Yeah, Goodnight Punpun.
Oh, fuck, shit. I completely forgot we had Goodnight Punpun on there.
Of course.
Goodnight Punpun. Bird. That's the only thing I know.
Bird.
Big
And
bird.
Inyo Asano.
Big bird.
Bird.
Big bird.
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 All right, yeah.
Is
that's
that
it.
our take
That's
of
it.
Goodnight
Well, I
Punpun?
mean, like, I don't know.
I think that's...
Enough people know about Goodnight
No,
Punpun.
I
Enough people... Like, I don't know. Do you want the reasons why it's on my list, or in, like, a minute?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, do a minute.
Yeah, in
Okay,
like
for one, I think Inyo Asano has my favorite art of all time. I've talked about this before. I think he strikes a nice balance between...
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Between, like, taking digital photos and incorporating that in with his own art style to create really beautiful, you know, backgrounds and really, really full panels and pages. It's visually the best I've ever seen, you know, and I think Punpun is amongst those in his library that is on the side of the better. But then, like, in terms of, like, characters and, you know, narrative, blah, 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 it is one of the few manga that I read, and I'm like, this isn't just a good manga, this is, like, a good story. Because, like, I'll read a lot of manga, and I'm like, this is good for a manga, but, like, it's no fucking East Eden by John Steinbeck. I read Goodnight Punpun, and I'm like, this shit kind of, like, nuts. This is kind of, like, you know, like, it's stories like this that are so, like, carefully crafted and so intricate in their telling, and I really think that the themes that it addresses it's perfect for a kind of more modern audience, and it's themes, you know, about alienation that we're all so familiar with, but I feel like it's situated in a much more smaller scale by having it with Punpun, who's initially like this, you know, elementary middle school kid, and again we get this nice grand development of him coming out of that. And anyways, I don't know, I'm so tired of talking about Punpun now. It's not Punpun. I guess I'm just tired of talking about all of these. I think I've talked about Punpun before. I think it has, like, one of my favorite endings. ever. I think it's so good.
Well, you did talk about it in your Inio Sana list.
I did
a few weeks ago, so I get why.
Yeah, it's one of those things that
why you would be tired.
Yeah, I've literally ranked every.
What can you say compared to anyone
Sana
else?
manga. Just go watch that if you want more. And even like my manga logs from last year when I first read it, I gave a little more concrete analysis of it back then. Because I do think that there is a lot to like chew at in Punpun, and I think it's meaningful, and I think it's a really carefully crafted story, and I think everything works. I have no issue. I think, and it's also one of the manga. This and No Longer Human are the two to like make me feel so physically comfortable after finishing them. Because I don't know, it really shows you like the deepest and darkest depths of the human psyche. It sounds so pretentious to say, but like
psyche.
It really like it's the best way to capture it in like a minute. You know what I mean? Without spoiling or going into any more concrete details, because this isn't supposed to be an analysis. This is why I put it on my list, and it largely has to do with just how well I think it is written and how deeply and strongly it made me feel afterwards. Anyways, that's Punpun, and that's the 9x9.
And that's it.
Yeah, no.
Congratulations.
The biggest reason why I would ever want to read Goodnight Punpun is probably the art, because I really liked when I read the first volume of Dead Demons Destruction. I really liked every single panel. Every single panel had so much detail, and I was like, holy shit, how the fuck does this man draw like that? I can make a stick figure, and that's about it.
I actually think that Dead Demons looks better at times, especially like recently. I think some of the later chapters, like in the 80s, are just fucking stunning, and yeah, I think Asano's only getting better, because what he does is like he takes actual digital photos and like, you know, he plays with the contrast and the saturation. He turns on the saturation, turns with the contrast, kind of does like some drawing over it to give it a more like, you know, hand-drawn feel. And he takes that and he puts that in the background, then he starts drawing over them with his characters and whatever. So it's, you know, the reason it's so detailed is because obviously he's literally using actual photos, but I don't know, thankfully people don't generally think that Asano's lazy, because he literally goes over everything again with hand to give it like that drawn feeling. You know, gives it like some little extra scratch there, more detail, because obviously once you play with the contrast and the saturation and stuff, you do mess up some of the detail. It becomes oversimplified, and so to return it to its like detailed glory, but to still give it that kind of analog feel, he goes over it with his hand, and it's brilliant. The multimedia, you know, use here is wonderful, and I'm glad people are more open to it. In short, allow me to recap my 3x3. So starting from the top left again, we have Eden of the East, then Darker Than Black, then Neon Genesis Evangelion. In that second row we have Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, Naruto, Naruto Shippuden, and Boruto, and Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. In the final row we have 3 Days of Happiness, No Longer Human by Urasawa Furuya, and Goodnight Punpun. That's it. Goodbye.
Which is a really good 3x3.
They just cut it there.
Okay.
Thank you. We don't need any long extended intros. Socials are in the descriptions. Next time we're doing TAIYOs. There's literally nothing else to say. Let's end the episode.
Fuck yeah. Let's go.
Thank you, boys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.